알비온이 또 대형 업데이트 소식을 전하고 있습니다. 대형 업데이트가 뭐냐? 뭐 예를 들어서 뭐 Beyond the Veil, 뭐 Crystal Raiders, Foundation 뭐 이런 것처럼 큰 막 이름 달고 하는 업데이트들 있잖아. 이번에는 Path to Glory, Path is to Glory라는 대형 업데이트를 한다고 하는데 여러분과 함께 소식 보도록 하겠습니다. 뭐 설명하는 그런 영상입니다. 제가 어제 또 이제 로빈 형이랑 술 한잔 하면서
Welcome to another Albion Online Dev Talk.
이것저것
Today
들었거든요.
I'm thrilled to introduce our next update, Paths to Glory, coming in July 2024. The update derives its name from its key feature, the Albion Journal. The journal challenges players to take on increasingly difficult tasks in different areas of Albion's gameplay and receive unique rewards to show off their success. There's quite a bit of content to go through for the journal, and we have plenty of other topics to talk about today, so the details will be covered at length in our next Dev Talk. What else do we have in this video then? Well, with Paths to Glory, we try to focus on including specific community requests you made in comments to our recent Dev Talks. And while we're still working on many of them, there's a number of community-inspired features that already made it into this update. First up, we're allowing guilds to own multiple islands, one per royal city. We've taken the opportunity to introduce city-specific looks for each guild island, so now you'll have a snowy island for your guild in Fort Sterling, or a lush forest if you're based in Limehurst. Another frequently requested feature included is the ability to overcharge twice, in order to prolong the overcharge duration at a higher risk of breaking the item after the total period. This should help the ZVZ community in prolonged fights, while leaving the rest of the game mostly unaffected. A nice little change is the ability to use all spells on tier 4 weapons, taking an unnecessary complexity out of the character build system and opening up more gameplay variety with lower tier weapons. Also at a community request, we're introducing a party ready check function. This helps party leaders to see when their group is ready to set out into the world of Albion or tackle the next boss in the dungeon. Other improvements include the introduction of
오염된 던전 지도라고?
corrupted dungeon maps, 3 new activity events for roads, mists, and tracking, and better filtering options in the rankings. We've also significantly improved the usability of the Destiny board by rescaling it and allowing you to further zoom in and out on the desktop version. Our most requested topic, and the one we spent the most of our thought and energy on, was improving the roads of Avalon. This posed quite a challenge, however.
이거는 제가 방송 중에 계속 얘기를 많이 했었죠. 아발론의 길을 크리에이터들한테도 막 많이 물어보고 그런다고. 뭔가 얘네가 데이터로는 아발론의 길에서 사람들 많이 싸우고 막 역대급으로 지금 싸움도 많이 나고 재밌다 하는데 사람들은 다 아발론의 길 병신 같다고 지금 여론이 이상하다고 이제 크리에이터들한테 설문조사를 하더라고요. 저는 좋아하는데 이거.
This was a challenge for us because it told us many of you are looking for a completely different experience in the roads than what they were designed to be. An extension of the open world, creating connections between places and offering opportunities for small groups, but not as an action-packed instant content like the Mists. Finally, we came to the conclusion that we're going to continue to see the roads of Avalon as what we intended them to be. We still see the need for an accessible action-packed small group-oriented feature, but we don't think the roads are the right place to offer it. Therefore, we've decided to improve what we have for the players who are already enjoying it. And here's what we're changing. We're standardizing the tiers of all mobs in specific road sections to make it easier to know whether you're in the right place to find the content you're looking for. Next, we made sure that Tier 4 roads are primarily found when entering from the blue and yellow zones, while entering from red and black zones typically gets you into a Tier 6 road directly. Tier 8 roads are now exclusive to deep roads and raid clusters. Talking about raid clusters, we've increased the quantity of these specific clusters to make sure hideouts in the roads connect to these more frequently, but we've also sprinkled in a few connections to these from non-hideout clusters to increase competition in them. Next, we took a look at the reward balancing and content distribution. We've reduced the amount of spots dedicated to gathering, but we've increased the respawn rate of resources accordingly, so the total output remains the same. We've used the space gained to add additional PvE spots, which we've also rebalanced,
마라톤 하는
slightly
시간이
bringing
줄어들면
down their
좋지.
fame rewards, but increasing their loot rewards to ensure the roads are not quite as powerful for leveling as they were, whilst hopefully making them more competitive with other forms of loot generation. One more piece of feedback we want to react to is the lack of content in the roads. To address this, we've brought tracking into the roads, and while we were at it, we also introduced one more rare tracking mob
뭐야,
you can
이거?
hunt down for loot. Additionally, we're introducing a key
특별한
new
아티팩트
feature
주는 거
to the
아니겠지?
world of
그냥
Albion,
몬스터겠지? 그죠?
activity-based spawn rates. What this means is a
뭐라고?
new feature to the
활동
world
기반
of
생성
Albion.
속도?
Each server by measuring the activity at each point in time. We will then adjust spawn rates for resources, mobs,
뭔지
and
알겠다.
treasures, as well as their upgrades based on this activity profile. This means that during the server's prime time, you should have an easier time finding content than you had before, whilst players hoping to exploit the low activity times for massive rewards will find them more scarcely. We're making sure not to go all out with this adjustment, so oftentimes we'll still see a little
그래,
more content per
그러면은
player,
새벽에
but the
하는
amount
사람은
of
더 좋은 거
content
아님?
will certainly
동부
be
같은
better
경우에는.
matched to the player activity. All in all, these changes are an iteration on the concept of the roads, not a revolution. We'll observe how they affect the way the content is played, and we'll continue to think about a new way to offer more reliable, small-scale PvP content, which we believe many players were asking for when requesting improvements to the roads. Finally, of course, this update also introduces the next batch of crystal weapons. The all-new Twin Slayers, a pair of crystal daggers which can create a ring of spinning blades that can be recalled back to the
탈론이잖아.
caster,
뭐야?
cutting through
이
all
씨발 누가 봐도
enemies in
탈론이네?
their path. The Dreadstorm Monarch, the new crystal maze
메이스야?
which can use its Eye of the Storm ability to create a growing storm around you, slowing enemies and shredding their resistances. And finally, the Exalted Staff, the new crystal holy staff. Its unique ability can remove enemy ground areas, like Sacred Ground. These three weapons will be available in the upcoming season's Conqueror's chests. And remember, as we're introducing these weapons over time, the total amount of artifact items dropped in each season's chest goes up, while each specific artifact becomes more rare. That means these chests are becoming more valuable with each season, until we've finished with the last set of crystal weapons. As you can see, the update is quite packed with features and adjustments, and we haven't even mentioned the visual reworks of scythes and quarterstaff base animations, and the many balance adjustments coming with the update. We also haven't gotten to the heart of the update, the journal, and the unique rewards you can earn by completing it. So don't miss our upcoming dev talk, where we cover these in depth, and of course, we're hoping you'll join us for the release of Paths to Glory in July.
제가 매번 느끼는 건데 이 새끼들은 졸라 이걸로는 존나 갓게임인 척 존나 해요. 뭔가 그리고 확실히 패치를 할 때마다 게임이 조금씩 나아지는 것 같거든요. 추적 빼고요. 족 같은 거.
Already multiple made it into this
소리 좀
update.
줄이고.
First up, now you'll have a
뭐 이상한 거 생겼던데. 문라이트 뱅가드 이게 뭐야? 길드 이름이야? 아니면은 새로운 뭐 칭호 같은 게 생기는 건가? 나 이거 갑자기 신경 써가지고 아까 길드하고 오버차지 2번. 이거는 개선 느낌이고 그죠? 뭐가 좋아지는 거지? 레지 새끼 좋아지는 건가 이거? 뭐 다 좋아지는 거죠? 잠깐만. 이펙트? 사슬배기? 사슬배기 이펙트 생긴 것 같은데 살짝 그죠? 원래 없었는데 원래 있었나? 살짝 생긴 것 같은데. 그리고 아발로드를 이거는 막 크게 바뀌는 건 아니고 개선 정도인 것 같고 제가 보기에는. 그리고 오던 지도 개 족같은 그 몇 년 4년 동안 내가 말한 것 같은 아무튼 생긴다고 하고요. 아발로드 개선하고 또 뭐 있냐? 또 뭐 있냐? 뭘 안 하면은 뭐 원래 익은 몹이 있었는데 이제 익은 채집 뭐 익은 뭐 상자 뭐 그죠? 익은 헬게이트 뭐 이런 하고 뭐 새로운 무기들 막 존나 대단한 뭔가는 없는. 확실하게 나아지는 건 맞아. 확실하게 나아지는 건 맞는데 졸라 대단한 변화인가 하면은 그건 또 아닌 것 같아. 사실은 졸라 기대할 만한 막 그런 건 아닌 것 같다고. 그냥 개선인 거야. 그니까. 그죠? 뭐 알겠습니다. 뭐 오늘은 이렇게 알아보는 걸로 하고 다른 거는 뭐 여러분들이 직접 알아보도록 하세요. 뭐 알비온 저는 잘 안 하니까 뭐 개빡치네 진짜. 기대는 하겠습니다만은 저 알비온 요새 잘 안 하거든요. 알비온 요새 잘 안 하는데 완전히 접은 건 아닙니다. 이제 이런 식으로 소식 나오면 보고 있고요. 정말 재밌겠는데 이러면 다시 할 생각 당연히 있습니다. 여러분들도 마찬가지일 거라 믿으면서 오늘은 여기서 영상 마무리하도록 하겠습니다. 수고링 바이 하도록 하겠습니다. 네, 수고링 수고. 네.